welcome back. Today we're here with Riham Osman, who is the Digital Media Strategist for MPAC. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. For those who don't know, what is MPAC?
So MPAC, I would say MPAC is a public policy organization. We advocate on behalf of the American Muslim community, and our work is twofold. We're trying to impact public perception and public understanding of the American Muslim community and Islam in general. I haven't always been politically active. That's actually why I got involved in MPAC. So straight out of college, I was kind of like looking for a new opportunity, and I came across MPAC's Young Leaders Government Summit. So I actually wanted to do the media summit, the media summit in New York, but I kind of felt like I already knew a lot about media, but not enough about government.
You got to directly speak to President Obama through Google Hangout, and you asked him a question about sort of mass surveillance and sort of the distrust it creates between citizens and the government. So I wanted to know, what was it like voicing your concern directly to the President of the United States? Because not a lot of us can say that. That's amazing.
It was one of the most incredible moments of my life. When I was going through the process, it started to hit me, and everything was moving very quickly. I was really young at the time when I did it. I think I was 21 years old. But actually, oddly enough, I think in 2015, I got to actually meet the president in person and have an hour-long conversation with him. So I think that was like a step up from that. That was the first time.
And what was that conversation like when you met him face to face?
So that conversation was specifically about the government's countering violent extremism framework. That MPAC, we had a lot of concerns with it, that it was targeting the Muslim community and framing us only through a national security framework. So the concerns I brought up to the president was that, what about other domestic terrorists? What about white supremacists? So we kind of had like a back and forth discussion about that. And I would say coincidentally, a couple weeks later, the president actually came out with a speech where he was talking about how it's not the Muslim community that should be targeted, that he was talking about domestic terrorism, he was talking about white supremacists. So I think it was collective conversations over the years that kind of helped the president to finally shift the way he speaks about countering violent extremism. So I think if we can get our president to not use words like radical Islamic terrorism, that's a huge win. I think people are looking for really big wins, but I think we have to kind of like take things one step at a time, and change doesn't happen overnight. It takes a really long time. I think we have to look at other communities. We look at like our state and we say, why are things moving so slow for us? But when you look at the Mormon community, the Catholic community, LGBT, African Americans, everyone went through this, and some of them are still going through this. So I think we have to be a little bit more patient and advocate every day.
You were saying that Obama was really receptive. So do you think that with the new administration, we're kind of going backwards in a sense?
So I do think we're going backwards in many senses, but I think we're going forward in other areas. After Election Day, I was actually surprised by the amount of phone calls we received in the office from our allies in the Latino community, in the Jewish community. People I haven't even spoken to in years were digging up my contact information and contacting me, asking, how are you guys? How can we help? How can we partner together? So I wouldn't see us doing that if it wasn't for Trump. I almost want to thank Trump for doing that.
He's bringing people together. He doesn't know it, but
Exactly. Like, he thinks he's dividing us, but he's really bringing us together.
Sort of with this administration as well, it kind of brought out this whole wave of activism. There have been people who weren't sort of politically active before that now feel somewhat, empowered. And I think the easiest way for people to go about it is social media. And, you see that as a strategist. How do you think people can transition sort of from just social media activism where, you just retweet something or share something to real life action, basically?
So I think change comes on Capitol Hill. I think it's good for people to be raising awareness about issues online. And I do think that actually has led to not change, but I think it's led to pressure. Like, I do think where we are at now with the Muslim ban is because of social media pressure. I mean, I remember the first Muslim ban. I was sitting on my couch. I was depressed. Like, I could barely leave my house. And I remember going on Twitter and seeing all these people talking about how they were going to the airport. So I got up, put my jacket on, and I went to the airport. So I think that pressure, that social media pressure, it did lead lawyers to get involved, which led to more I guess just more coverage in the news about the Muslim ban, and then it led all these other things to happen.
So like it sparked it.
Yeah, it
basically.
sparked it. I think
Yeah.
it sparked it, but I don't think that's what creates change. I think what creates change is really to get on the phone with your representative's office and to voice your opinion and to really be bombarding their offices.
Yeah.
Many people don't know this, but like even just a couple phone calls in an office can really like raise alarms. People, because no one picks up the phone anymore. So if I'm a staffer in an office and I'm getting like 15 calls about one issue, like I'm gonna say that's an issue. We need to bring that up. That needs to be an agenda item that we need to talk about. But we still need to be there for others. We need to be at those rallies on immigration. We need to be there for the LGBTQ community. Even community, if we don't fully agree with somebody, does not mean we cannot defend their rights. So I think that's something I want to see the Muslim community do more of. Is just standing up for others, even when our rights aren't at stake.
That's so true. And like you were saying before, there are other communities that also stood with us, stood up for us, and we should be doing the same exact thing. That's what Islam teaches us. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs here at MPAC, specifically the Youth Summit?
Yeah, so we have 3 programs for young American Muslims. The first one is the Young Leader Summit. So we actually have 2 summits, one in Los Angeles, one in DC. The one in DC, it's a policy and media summit. And then second, we have our Congressional Leadership Development Program. And pretty much what it is, it's a program that places Muslims in internship positions on the Hill. And it's a fellowship. So like you get a whole experience, leadership trainings, and you get to network and just make all sorts of connections. And then third is our internship program in our offices in DC and LA, where you get to learn about advocacy, and then in LA you'd get to learn more about community work and Hollywood work.
It's like, that sounds exciting.
I know, especially as a digital media strategist, I feel like I should be attending that summit.
Have you ever been actually to the
summit?
Yeah.
No, I just write about it and I report it. I get
One
jealous.
day.
I get jealous every year.
Wow. All right, thank you so much for having us.
Me.
Yes, of course. And if you guys like to find out more about MPAC, everything will be in the description box below. And we'll see you guys next time.